Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Man, thanks for doing this again.
Glad to be here.
I'm having deja vu a little bit because I met you basically a year ago.
Yeah.
And, but it was in Atlanta. It was right before the Songwriters Festival, the 38 Songwriters Festival here in Florida, and that's where we're here today. Back then, I didn't know what I was doing. You were so kind and gracious enough to talk to me when I was starting this podcast, and I just had a couple mics and didn't have any video set up, but I really appreciate your graciousness then, hosting me at your house, and I really appreciate you doing this again. I just wanted to catch up with you, so thank you.
Thanks for having me. And, you said a year ago, and I told somebody this morning, I said, oh, yeah, I've known Jason for like 3 years. We've seen each other a lot in the last year.
No, it's awesome.
And I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry for this terrible setting.
I mean, it could be better, I guess. I don't know.
Beautiful. Actually, I think this is the first time in about 5 years or so where the weather has not been brutally cold down here. So we're due for the 38 Songwriters Festival. We're due with some nice weather, and we've got it today, which is fantastic.
Awesome. Well, you're kicking us off here. I guess I have a question. We're at this amazing festival that you've been doing a number of years, but if you had to put together a festival lineup for one evening, past, present, future, who are the 4 or 5 bands you'd put on that card?
Oh, wow. You mean anybody?
Anybody from any era, any genre, but you had to put it together. Just curious, what would that look like?
That's a good question. The Beatles? No.
Well, yeah, that'd be good.
My brain right now is on the 38 Songwriters Festival, and I saw Steve Poltz the other day, so I'd have to have Steve Poltz because I think he's one of the most mesmerizing entertainers I've ever seen. I love Chuck Prophet. And he's with the Cumbia Shoes this weekend, but I've seen him with the Mission Express several times, and I just love that guy.
Okay.
I'm a big Wilco fan.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Love Wilco.
Yeah.
And who else? I don't know. There are too many people
to choose from.
I will say this. Personally, I'd probably choose people, a lineup for a festival, and there'd be like 10 people there. I don't know. Who are these people playing at this festival?
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking yesterday. We went to the Paste magazine, had a festival in Atlanta years ago.
Oh, I love that, yeah.
It was probably 15 years ago, but it was over in Decatur on a Sunday, and they had Victoria Williams and Buddy Miller and some just fantastic musicians, and there were like 50 people at the festival. And we were just sitting there right on the front row watching Buddy Miller play. And I just thought, oh, man, this is so sad because it's the best lineup, and there's nobody here, and that's probably what I'd put together.
And the crazy thing is people have no idea what they're missing. When they have no idea how good that music is. If they were curious, they'd realize that. So, yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to start with something because, I've done a number of interviews since the first one with you and Nelson Nolan, your partner, who we're going to talk about in a good way a little bit later. But, part of this process is I talk to people, we do some editing, we post it, hopefully people will listen or watch or whatever, and then you do all the social media game, right, with clips and everything. Right. What's crazy about you, and I don't say that because that's like a shock after getting to know you, but you don't have millions of followers on Spotify or Instagram, right? There's other artists that have 100 million streams that I've talked to and like all these things, and I'll post content that they'll share, and they'll get some views, but there's not much engagement. There's not as many likes or whatever. Every piece of content, because you and Nelson were nice enough to do the Red Stool sessions in Roswell, which my friends and I host. Right. We're posting clips of that show. The proportion of likes and engagement on those views by your fan base, it's off the chart compared to everybody else. It's far and away the most engaged audience. Are you surprised by that? And then, what do you attribute that to?
Well, first place, thanks for making the posts. um, I think the only thing I can attribute that to is starving people for content. Maybe I'm not the biggest poster.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest guy out on social media, and I think we were talking about this before, but I started recording 6 songs 3 years ago, and I've almost finished 2 of them. So I'm not getting things done that quickly. I wish I were. Ironically, I think maybe the best songs that you write and record are done quickly. Write the song, you're into it, you record it, finish it. I wish I could do that, but so we work kind of slowly, and I'm thankful that our fans react to things that we post, but maybe we're starving them for content.
That, I guess that could be true. I think it's because the people that know you the best appreciate you, who you are as a person, your family, what you've meant to the city of Atlanta for so long, and I think that's the genuineness that comes across, and I think you're not going to really like and engage with somebody that you have a passing sort of interest in. So,
well, thank you. Oh, I forgot, incredible raw talent. Just
that goes without saying. No, seriously. So that's cool. And I think when we did talk a year ago, we were probably kind of all over the map because I was new and we were talking about a lot of different things. But I asked you about growing up in the South and how that's influenced you, and you kind of brushed it aside and didn't really like lean into that. And then at the very end of the episode, you're like, hey, I need to correct something. And I think I wrote this down. It was a really great quote. You're like, actually, every song I've ever written is influenced by the South. It's all in there. Yeah. Which is a great quote. I guess, can you talk more about those influences? Are they people? Is it music? Is it the culture, the food? What does that mean for you?
My whole family is from the South. My mother's father grew up in Americus, Georgia, and was one of 8 children. My father's mother was from Locust Grove, and they all moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I mean, aside for a couple of years in Colorado, I've lived in Atlanta or the Atlanta area my whole life.
Right.
And I guess if you got a camera and you zoom in, you're from a neighborhood, and then you're from a city, and then you're from a region, and then you're American, and then the world. And when I moved out to Colorado,
right,
when I was in college, I took a semester off and went out and worked at Alta, Utah, and worked at a hotel. And I'd never thought of myself as very Southern. I'm a city boy. I'm from Atlanta, I was like, I probably don't even have an accent. And I got out there, and there were all these people from all around the country, and they called us the Southern Boys.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of people from the North, they'd be like, oh, it's the Southern Boys. And I was like, oh, they think we're rednecks, And I'm like, wait, I'm from the city. And so I realized that that's kind of the identity of how people see you based on your dialect or
sure,
however you talk, and phrasing and comments or I remember some of my friends from the North were asking from Chicago were saying, hey, you want to go sketch? And I was like, what in the world is sketching? Dragging behind a car when it's snowing. And just it's like in England they say lorry.
Yeah.
And so I started to realize that, and as I've grown older, I grew up in Atlanta when Atlanta was kind of like a small town, and you see it grow and progress, sometimes in good ways and sometimes in bad ways, economically, socially.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlanta's got all kind of problems, but I love the place, and there's a lot of history there, good and bad, as I was saying. And so I couldn't possibly write a song without the South being part of it,
right?
Because it's such a part of me and my family and the people that I grew up with. I'm an Atlanta native, which people say is a unicorn.
That's right.
I went to work. I spent 2 years working for a bank. I realized about 30 minutes after I got there that I was like, wait, what am I doing here? And I lasted for 2 years, but I was in the elevator one day. Somebody said, hey, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Atlanta. And they said, no, like originally, where are you from?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm from Atlanta. And they said, I've never met anybody from Atlanta.
Yeah.
But there are those people out there, and I remember the town evolving, and it was really like a small town.
Yeah.
My memories of it are like a small town, and that's changed a lot. But back to the Southern thing, if you write a song, I've never been able to write a song and just completely make up a story. And if I did, and it didn't have a part of anybody that I know, it's not a good song. It's not. It just won't work.
Right.
Maybe like, I know that the Seinfeld, the series, was based on people that Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld knew. Like
Sure.
Kramer was based on some guy. Like you gotta know parts of people and characters for that to work. I think.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm coming from to say that that's all part of it.
Okay. Well, so on that point, you know, the 6 songs that you've been working on for 20 years or whatever, you know, some of those songs are about those relationships that you've had. And I think the 2 I wanted to ask you about actually is a song about Atlanta, called Atlanta.
Yes.
But it's also sort of a mirror story or reflection on a relationship, a friendship, I think, of someone that didn't have a great ending, right? And then there's another song called High Flying Friend that probably similar circumstances, but a different story. So back to your point about the connection and the real life experience, you know, sometimes that leads to heartache and broken relationships, and
right.
How much has that influenced? And can you talk about those 2 songs?
Yes. First, I have to say that I really wish that I could sit down and write a pick me up. I've got a few songs that are pick me ups, but mostly writing songs lyrically for me is therapy. I don't even want to suggest that I've figured the life out.
Right.
Music to me is part of that. So a lot of times when I sit down to write a song, years ago I was writing a song, and it's a song that Double Wide, my old band, played, and it's called One More Mile, and it says, it's kind of a lighthearted, pulled out of town with the windows down, driving around, and I just trying to make it one more mile away from you. I had to add that last line, and my good friend listened to it the first time and just said, you just can't do it, can you? You can't, like, just trying to make it one more mile, and it was set up to just be this fun-loving song, and I'm away from you. I had to add that little tagline in there. But I guess that's part of the therapy.
All right.
So both of those songs are very sad.
Yeah.
And I will say with Atlanta, that song was started by a friend of mine, John Lawrence, who is a fantastic musician and songwriter and singer, and he puts out music under the name Sweetie Pie, and he plays around Atlanta. John Lawrence and I were, this Marietta Songwriters thing has really helped me immensely. I've met some great writers, and I've been doing co-writes, which I've never been able to do. I've tried a few times, and it just hasn't worked, but I've met these guys, and it's just very laid back. And we've been writing some songs together, and it's been fantastic. But John Lawrence and I decided to swap some songs that we had started and couldn't finish.
Okay.
Or wouldn't finish, and just thought, hey, this is a good idea, but it needs help. So John sent me that song, Atlanta, and he's from the North. And it's about him moving to Atlanta and missing a friend. And so I had to take that song and turn it into somebody dying, of course.
Bradley.
But
it's a great song, though.
Well, thank you. I like it, and it's dang it, it's almost finished. We recorded it last January, and I've got a few edits, and then we'll put it out soon. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But actually, the drama in the song it's not about a specific person, and this ties into This Isn't Like You. Unfortunately, as a musician, I think everybody probably knows someone who has had substance abuse problems and has not been able to control those, and either quickly or over years and years and years, it takes their life. And I've had more of that than I wish. And so This Isn't Like You is definitely about that, and I would tie Atlanta into that too. But Atlanta it's like he started up north and came down, and so it's like I look at it as a view of Atlanta from people who are not from here, and then for me it's kind of a love song to the town.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it says I miss you, brother. Know you're smiling down, warm as the sun, is in Atlanta now. Still can't believe they put you in the ground, but you're in my heart, and we're in Atlanta now.
Yeah,
that's good.
And it does. I said it doesn't have ties to a particular person. It does for me, and it does for Nelson specifically. And
yeah.
I don't really want.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
That's a tear-jerking moment if I start talking about it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No worries. And then High Flying Friend is similar, right?
Yeah, and that was brought about by a friend of Nelson and myself who played music in Atlanta for a long time, and succumbed to a long time of just taking it to the edge. But like I said, I think I've got double digits of people I've known throughout the years who have taken it too far.
Oh, man.
And so that song is specifically about that, and it's I'm really proud of that song. I like the melody and the lyrics, and I've got to say that another person that I've written some songs with from this Marietta Songwriters thing is James Hall, who played in the band Marry My Hope back in the late 80s. And I didn't specifically write that song with him, but I've been writing songs with him, and I realized after I wrote that song that the chords for the verse were from a bridge of another song that we had worked on. So that's a co-write with him.
All right.
But that song means a lot to me, and sometimes I have a hard time making it through that. That I was starting to write it just about the time that he lost his life.
Yeah.
But it's really a grouping. It's just I know that. I don't want to get too heavy, but I know that alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease, but you watch it and it's just so heartbreaking. Just the gravity. You see somebody attracted to that gravity and you think, why can't they stop?
Right.
And I guess it's just like anything. You know, you just don't understand it. And I've had times in my life where I drank way too much, and
sure.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's I'm trying to figure that out. That's my songwriting process, and that's why it comes out depressing.
No, it's good. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And so you mentioned Nelson Nolan a few times. He joined us for that first conversation, and he's one of a kind in so many awesome ways, I guess.
He certainly is.
You mentioned Double Wide, the band that you're in, so you've gone through that band experience, solo, I'm sure through the years, but it seems like, again, just in the year or so that I've known you, it seems like you guys are inseparable. Yeah. And I guess, can you talk about Nelson, what his friendship and musical partnership means to you? And, I'm just curious kind of, what that means to you.
Well, I think in our prior interview, we went through how we hooked up. I was playing a show over in Birmingham, Alabama, and our guitar player couldn't play.
He stepped in.
Nelson stepped in.
That's awesome.
And that was it. And that was in about 2000 maybe. So we've had a long run together. And most of what we do now is acoustic duo stuff. We do play band shows, and Nelson's a fantastic acoustic and electric guitar player. But most of what he does now is play mandolin, and he plays with everybody. He's playing with Michelle Malone now in her Canyonland gig. He plays with Dave Franklin. I went and saw him do a reunion show with his band, the $7 Band, from when he was at Alabama.
Oh, my gosh.
Back in the 80s. And that's actually the first time I ever met Nelson, because he dated a friend of my brother's from high school at Alabama, and my brother called me when I was at the University of Georgia and said, "Hey, Mary Beth's boyfriend is playing at Georgia at this party. You got to go see him." So I walked up and said, "Hey, you're dating a friend of mine." So I met him in 1988, probably.
Oh my gosh.
And then we got to be friends in Atlanta, and then he started playing with me around 2000. And I would say he's the kind of yin to my yang. I mean,
Sure.
Nelson is always having a good time. He's the most positive person I know. He's up there moving around, playing 5 instruments, and I'm just kind of sitting over there strumming away, singing my sad songs. And I'm not giving myself much credit, but Nelson is an integral part to what I do,
Yeah.
and he adds more than I can comment on.
No,
and he's a great person,
yeah,
caring person.
Yeah.
Like I said, always positive, and it's been a pleasure to play with him. And the longer we do it, I love the guy.
No, that's awesome. I don't know if this song was kind of about him directly or just the concept of friendships in general, but you have a song called Sick of Heart that alludes to the importance of a community and a support system and things like that. Again, I don't know if it's about Nelson, but tell me about that song. What's the context of that, and what the community, obviously we talked about with your fans earlier, like how that's been so important to you.
Well, that song that's another co-write with James Hall.
Okay.
And that song is, I mean, in a nutshell, that's about if you're going through hard times, leaning on the people that you love. And Nelson is certainly one of those people. And as far as the community goes, we've been really lucky, like you said, with our followers, to have people who come out and see us and
Sure.
support us. And hey, I heard you got a new song, and that's no small thing.
Yeah.
I've been playing music since high school, and writing songs, and to have people still support us, it means a lot.
That's awesome. All right. So
and it's still fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you guys have so much fun together. Yeah. So where do you think you are as an artist today, and where do you want to be?
Where I want to be is I want to be more prolific. And I feel like the Marietta thing I was telling you about, writing with other people, learning new chords and new songs. My goal, or what I love, is when I hear a song and it doesn't go where I think it's going to go. It can be one chord in the whole song that makes me turn my head, and what was that? And I think a lot of people are like that. And if I hear a song and I'm like, okay, this is what's coming, this line's coming, or this chord is coming, there's no surprise. And my goal is to write songs that surprise me and surprise the listener.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But that's what I aspire to.
Okay. That's awesome. All right.
Is to write good music and feel like I'm pushing myself and becoming better.
All right.
And I do feel like I'm doing that right now. I do need to be more prolific, and I certainly need to record my songs as soon as I write them.
So on that point, it's mid-January here in 2025. I guess what's the timing of some of those songs that you're working on and about to release?
They will definitely. We're slated for a 2028 release.
You're on track.
Yeah, we're going to start the marketing campaign early 2026 and really get the whole thing juiced up so that we sell at least 20 CDs.
Yeah.
It'll be back to 8 tracks.
8 tracks.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm a Luddite.
But it's soon, right? It's going to be this year.
Yeah.
It
will. We've got 4 songs that need to be mastered. So
Okay.
we'll release them, and 2 of them are it's Atlanta, and what is the other one? I can't even remember what they are. 2 of them are rockers, and so I'm not really playing them on the acoustically yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we'll get them out there.
So other than that, you obviously play a lot of gigs in Atlanta, but you also recently participated in a pretty cool project. So speaking of the South, in Georgia, we just lost Jimmy Carter, right? Such an important part of Georgia, politics and culture. I think you contributed to the most recent, is it rock and roll, Jimmy Carter, Rock and Roll President documentary?
Yep. Jimmy Carter, Rock and Roll President.
Yeah, how'd that come about?
We were lucky enough to be asked. I have a friend who was part of the production of Rock and Roll President, and he asked I guess it probably started in 2019, I guess, and he called and said, would you be interested in contributing some music for the soundtrack?
Oh, cool.
And it was really fun, and I hate to say this, it was really easy. My phone is full of about 2,000 different snippets of different songs that I'm working on, and to go back through those, and that's cool. And we went in and recorded probably a minute of instrumental music, and we sent it in, and we were part of the background music and got co-credit for the soundtrack for this movie. And if you have not seen the movie, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And we were so glad to be a part of it. And unfortunately, it was a victim of COVID. It came out in March of 2020. And it did not get the cinematic release that it deserved. Because it is a great portrait of a great man who was really tied to Southern music and music around the world. And this movie has interviews with Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson and Bono and people. And most of the music is from U2 and Paul Simon and Bob Dylan and people, but we are a small part of it.
Oh, that's really cool.
We're very, very honored to be.
Yeah, well, congrats on that. That's awesome.
And it's a good tribute to Jimmy Carter, who, as we all know, was an incredible man.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right, so in closing, I think we talked about this last time. As you know, hopefully after a year, this podcast was inspired by my favorite show, Ted Lasso. The idea of the goldfish having a 10-second memory, forgetting your mistakes and pressing on, and then the whole importance of curiosity. So I don't know if things have changed in a year, but today, what are you most curious about?
I should have been ready for this question, right?
This is a layup.
Right?
It's a layup.
I would say I am. I think I said it a minute ago. I'm a Luddite, and I am good enough to produce demos, but I have the capability in my house to produce professional recordings, and that is my curiosity. Will hopefully lead me down the recording pipeline so that I can produce more music and put it out there and hear what a lot of producers hear.
All right.
So that's my goal and where my curiosity is going.
All right. Well, go get it done, Bradley. Your fans are waiting. They're starving.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. 2028.
All right. Well, appreciate your time. It's great to see you as always. And can you play us some music?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Appreciate you.
I am Bradley Cole Smith, and this is called Sick of Heart. Sick of heart, sick of mind, it'll kill you in time. Draw your strength from the ones that you love. The top of the world, you can't feel the highs. Floating, nowhere to go. Up in space is the place where you try to hide, but you can't escape the mirrors and the smoke. Sick of heart, sick of mind, it'll kill you in time. Draw the curtains, feel the light from above. Sick of mind, sick of heart, it'll tear you apart. Draw your strength from the ones that you love. Neon bars, passing cars, pedal steel guitar. No way to slow your life down. And one leads to another, and another once more. One more, you just might drown. The moon keeps on swinging, surround you in darkness and stars. And that old sun don't say nothing, but it sees you wherever you are. Wherever you are. Sick of heart, sick of mind, it'll kill you in time. Draw the curtains, feel the light from above. Sick of mind, sick of heart, it'll tear you apart. Draw your strength from the ones that you love. Draw your strength from the ones that you love. My name is Bradley Cole Smith, and this is called Love and Time, and this is a co-write with my friend James Hall. Feel like a monkey in my grinder's suit. Call my title, sing a tune, drop your coin in the slot. Here's a hit, maybe not. Or I'm a milkmaid at the crack of dawn. Stool and bucket, coax a song, light the sky like a star. Load my gear in the car, but you'll get all my loving and time. All my loving and time. Shed your tears and heartache, they ain't worth a dime, but you'll get all my love and time. Now I'm on KP in my cowboy boots, draw my ladle, serve your soup. Any good? Who's to say? Clean your plate, on your way. I'm gonna love you till they lay beneath the floor. Teach you how to write a tune, sell the merch, work the door. She'll get all my loving time. All my loving time. Shed your tears and heartache, they ain't worth a dime, but you'll get all my loving time. Now what can you do when you're learning your lines in the spotlight? Feel like a fool, wrap the matinee, send them all out in the daylight. Daylight, but you'll get all my loving time. All my loving time. Shed your tears and heartache, they ain't worth a dime, but you'll get all my loving time. All my loving time. Thank you.